What's going on YouTube? It's your guy Darren, and of course on YouTube I go by the Bowtie Fragrance Guy. And on my channel I talk about how you can look good and smell great each and every day. So fragrance and fashion, how you can look good, smell amazing. So if that sounds interesting to you, I invite you to go ahead and click the subscribe button. And while you're at it, go ahead and take a quick moment to click the bell icon as well. That way you get notified every time I release a new video. So as become customary here, guys, I'm talking about some nice fragrances today. And I'm also enjoying a cup of coffee. I always say there's just something about enjoying some coffee and talking about fragrances, and the coffee just makes this whole thing even better. I don't know, could just be me, but nonetheless, on today's video, I'm going to be discussing my most complimented niche fragrances from the year of 2020. Now, of course, it's been a different year to say the least, and the things that have been going on in the world have even affected wearing fragrances and how we wear fragrances. But I will say I had to get back out there in the workforce after being quarantined for only about 2 months. So I have been out and about having to wear fragrances. And although folks have been wearing masks, which have made things different, I still have worn some fragrances that have pulled in some compliments. So again, I want to talk about 10 of those fragrances that come from the niche side of things. So if you want to hear what my 10 choices were, you know the routine, keep it locked right here. All right, guys, I'm back. Thank you so much for keeping it locked in. We're going to go ahead and jump into the list. Now, I did release the designer version of this video, so if you have not seen that, I will link it down below. You need to go and check out the fragrances that made the designer list for me this year. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into the video. So the first fragrance up that I want to mention today, this one comes from the house of Nasomato, and this one is Black Afghano. Black Afghano. Now, I think this one would have received even more compliments, but I don't get to wear this one as often as I would like, just because to me it's really more suited for the type of attire that I'm wearing now, to be honest with you. It's not really a fragrance that I really wear too often in a more casual setting, although there's been times where I've gone out and about, maybe just going out doing some shopping or whatever the case may be, and it's been cold outside and I've worn like a scarf, a nice sweater. This really pairs well when you're dressed that way. You could get away with it dressed that way as well. But again, I don't wear it casually as often, so I haven't worn it as much. So with that being the case, that's why this fragrance comes in at the number 10 spot this year. Again, from the house of Nasomato, this is Black Afghano. All right, and coming in at the 10th spot, guys, this fragrance comes from the house of Byredo, and this one is Gypsy Water. Gypsy Water. Now, I know you guys have heard me talk a lot about Bowtie Freak, which I've worn as well, but this one pulled in a lot of compliments, man. It's kind of sweet, but it has a kind of spicy and green undertone to this fragrance as well, man. Again, just like a lot of other fragrances from Byredo, these fragrances tend to do well in the compliment department for me when I wear them. So again, coming in at the 9th spot this year, this is from Byredo, and this one is Gypsy Water. All right, guys, and coming in at the 8th spot this year, this fragrance comes from the house of by Kilian, and this is Straight to Heaven Extreme. Straight to Heaven Extreme. Again, this is just pure sexiness right here in this bottle, man. It's so good. It's so boozy, but at the same time, you get a nice dose of cedar wood in this one as well as vanilla. And it's just a great fragrance, guys. It works really, really well on my skin. And it's a fragrance that really just attracts people to you. They're gonna pick this one up, and it's kind of unique. So they're gonna want to know what it is that you're wearing. I get that a lot when I'm wearing this. Ooh, that smells good. What exactly is that you're wearing? Again, I like the original, but this takes the original DNA of Straight to Heaven to the next level. So coming in at the 8th spot this year, this one from by Kilian is Straight to Heaven Extreme. All right, guys, and coming in at the 7th spot this year, this fragrance has been making a lot of noise in my collection over the past couple months. I absolutely love this stuff, and it's a mass appealing compliment magnet from the house of Bond number 9. This one is called Lafayette Street. Lafayette Street. Now, I've talked about this one a lot lately, and that's because I just can't get enough of it. I just cannot get enough of this stuff. There's nothing complex about this. This is not anything that's complex as far as the scent DNA is concerned. It's just a very, very pleasant scent profile that I love. I get great performance out of this stuff as well. So that helps, but man, this stuff just smells freaking fantastic. Bottom line to it. So definitely pulls in the compliments. I have not run into many people that have not liked this one when I've worn it. So coming in at the 7th spot this year from the House of Bond number 9, this is Lafayette Street. All right, guys, we're coming to the 6th spot. We're getting into a little bit more of the oldies but goodies. This one still is doing it for me, guys. I wore this yesterday. This is Elysium from the House of Roja Dove. Of course, this has a DNA of a vintage, but it's a little bit more astringent. It has gin in this, juniper berries. So that gin and the juniper berries really, really are prominent notes on my skin. So, like I said, it gives it more of this kind of sharp, kind of astringent vibe that you get from a vintage, where that goes more with the smoky thing with the birch. This one again goes more with the gin and the juniper berry. It really, really comes out on my skin. But again, it does have a similar DNA to a vintage, so quite naturally, people really, really like this one and compliment it. So coming at the 6th spot this year, this one comes from the House of Roja Dove, and this is, of course, Elysium. All right, guys, now coming in at the 5th spot, one of my absolute favorite fragrances. I wear it a lot, so it gets compliments a lot. From the House of Tom Ford, this one is Oud Wood. Man, this stuff is so good. I finally ran through my 50 ml bottle this year, picked up the 100 ml bottle, and I've already knocked out quite a bit of this one as well. It's just one of my absolute favorite fragrances. Again, I'm gonna go ahead and kill the suspense here. If there is ever a reality that I would only be able to keep 10 fragrances in my possession, I'm telling you now, this would be one of my choices, hands down. Now, like I often talk about with Tom Ford fragrances, I have the body spray as well, so I like to wear that as well, in addition to just the fragrance. Again, it really helps with projection. This stuff is just good, man. It always works well for me in the compliment department. So coming in at the 5th spot from Tom Ford, this one is Oud Wood. All right, guys, coming in at the 4th spot this year, we're going back to the House of by Kilian. Again, I've worn a lot of Kilian this year, to be honest with you. And this one is just special, man. This is Sacred Wood. Sacred Wood. Again, there's absolutely nothing complex about this scent DNA. It's really a nice, creamy, kind of woody sandalwood fragrance. But man, it is just special. And when it hits skin, it smells good from the atomizer, but it is special when this thing hits my skin. I really could wear this year round, although I really don't wear it as much in the winter. Though you could get away with it, but man, this is just something that you have to experience. And it just does something when it hits the skin. It meshes very well with my natural chemistry, body chemistry. So this one pulls in compliments for me, guys. It did it this year, and I'm sure it'll do it again next year. Just like the bottle says, the name of this fragrance says, I'm sorry, I will hold this one close to my heart. It's hard to get your hands on this one, so it's sacred to me. Coming in at the 4th spot for me from the House of Kilian, this one is Sacred Wood. All right, and coming in at the 3rd spot this year, guys, we're going to the House of Creed, and this one is a Vintage Cologne. A Vintage Cologne. Now, I still love the original Creed Vintage, but I have the 4-ounce bottle, and of course, you know, those are discontinued. It's the 17 N01 batch, which I think is one of the great batches that were created of the more recent history here. So I'm trying to preserve that. I'm about halfway through, don't want to run through that. So I've been rocking a Vintage Cologne. It still gives me the vibe that I get from Creed Vintage, but it's a little bit more on the lighter, fresher, fruitier side than its predecessor. But again, it still works, man. It still gives you those vibes, like I said, of the original Creed Vintage. And people really like that scent DNA. It's a highly complimented scent DNA. It's a highly copied scent DNA. But nonetheless, this one has been working well for me this year. As you can see, I got it like early this year, and I've worn quite a bit. And it pulls in the compliments from the House of Creed. This is a Vintage Cologne. Guys, coming in at the number 2 spot, another fragrance that kind of carries the Creed Vintage DNA slightly. From the house of Nishane, this is Hachivat. Hachivat. Guys, I told a story about this one when this was one of the first fragrances I wore out and about when we were able to start to get around and come out of the quarantine, when stores and things of that nature started to open up. I told this story when I did the review on this, so I did a review on Hachivat. If you would like to check it out, I will link it down below as well. I went to TJ Maxx doing a little bit of shopping once things opened up. I had a mask on. The young lady that was checking me out had a mask on as well. And they also had one of the plastic dividers up, of course, protecting her from, of course, protecting the workers from, of course, because of COVID. So I was checking out and she said, wow, what is that you are wearing? And I was like, you can really smell this through your mask and the whole night, even with this up. She said, yes, what is that you're wearing? This smells great. And I was wearing Hachivat. Guys, I ranted and raved about this fragrance when I first got it because I sprayed it on my skin and I could see the oil residue on my hand for over an hour. No lie, after I sprayed this, I could still see a very high sheen of oil on my skin when I sprayed this on my hand. So this is an extrait de parfum, so it's very heavily concentrated with oil. But man, this stuff just smells great. It does have a kind of green and spicy undertone, a little bit more greener and spicier than you get from a vintage, but it's still good. It has patchouli and I think oak moss. But anyway, guys, this is great stuff. It's highly complimented. That's why it comes in at the #2 spot from the house of Nishane. This is Hachivat. And coming in at the #1 spot, guys, of my most complimented niche fragrances from the year of 2020. This should come as no surprise. From the house of FragranceGuy, this is Portrait of a Lady. Portrait of a Lady, and I've also told stories about this one as well. Wearing this year, this has the record this year for the most compliments in one day. I don't make stuff up, guys. I wore this fragrance to work one day and I got 7 compliments in one day from men and women. They both were complimented. They both complimented me and asked what I was wearing when I was wearing this stuff. I've gravitated to the note of rose in my fragrance journey because for some reason rose fragrances tend to do pretty well on my skin. Now I'm going to pull back on rose a little bit because I don't want to get tired of the note. And I found myself over the past couple months kind of starting to get a little fatigued with the note of rose because I've been buying so many fragrances that have rose, and there's so many fragrances in my collection that have rose that I love. This, you have New York Oud, you have Lyric Man, just to name a few. So again, does not change the fact though that this fragrance for me, was the most complimented niche fragrance in my collection. So the #1 spot this year goes to this one from FragranceGuy. This is Portrait of a Lady, or in my case, of course, Portrait of a Man. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is my time. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video of my most complimented niche fragrances from the year of 2020. I would love to hear what fragrances worked for you guys in the compliment category. If you were able to get out and wear some fragrances and you did receive some compliments on some of your favorite niche fragrances, I'd love to know what they were. Please drop your fragrances down in the comment section. As always, I always sincerely appreciate your time and attention to these videos because, of course, I know you could have been anywhere else in the world, but you took a few moments to watch this video, and I sincerely appreciate that. Now, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share these videos out to folks that you think could use this information or find me entertaining, because I'm your guy, Darian, the Bowtie Fragrance Guy. I love to look good, and of course, I love to smell amazing. So until next time, guys, keep looking good, keep smelling even better. I'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.